All right, so now we move to this week's question. It is, now, Jacob deceived and stole from Esau. We all know the story, right? Esau's birthright. As the typically in Israel, the firstborn will have the birthright, right? He'll be the head. Now his birthright, Esau deceived him, but God blessed. Jacob deceived Esau, stole his birthright, and yet God blessed Jacob. Why? Now, maybe I ask the young ones. Julius, do you remember how Jacob deceived Esau to take over his birthright? Say again. He put on the hairy thing, put a hairy coat, and then that was the father. The father began to think that this is Esau because Esau was hairy. You only think about hairy. So, Daddy hairy? No, not really. Now, but he deceived Esau, the brother. How he cheat Esau out of his birthright? Do you remember? No, okay. But you remember the other one, the hairy part. Enoch. How did Jacob deceive Esau? Say again. The what? And then Esau was very hungry. Porridge. Right. You read Chinese Bible. Porridge. I think of porridge only. Okay. Yes, he's making a stew, right? Maybe stew is porridge, I don't know. He's making a stew. And then, now he aimed and said, oh, wait for him to be very tired. Wait for him very tired. And then when he come in, wow, I know he will be so hungry for food. He he won't think straight, and he would probably be willing to give anything to get my stew. All right, so he knew. He plotted, he planned, he schemed. Then he came in. Then that is how he tricked Esau into, giving him his birthright. So what's the point? I'm going to die already, Give me food. You want that? I'll just take it. Yes? Okay, good. Now, so Jacob deceived Esau, but God blessed Jacob, right? Jacob still became what? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. And then from there, Israel. All right? Israel was formed. God blessed him. God still made him the so-called origin of the nation of Israel. And also God blessed him in many other ways. So number one. Then the other one is this. Even the mother helped Jacob to cheat Esau. Right? Even the mother helped Jacob to cheat Isaac. Now, so all these things. But yet, blessings. How come? Why is it like that? Michelle. Right? So your friend asked you this. Okay, so for those in cry room and for those who may not hear, in the first place, God promised Abraham that there will be a great people, so he kept his promise. Well, but God did not promise it. God can promise it through Esau. But God is sovereign, so God chose Esau or Jacob. God chose Jacob, but then if that is the case, why didn't God arrange for Jacob to come out first? God chooses who he pleases. How do you know? But God chose Esau to be born first. Then the second one was what? Because God is merciful. Even when we sin, God is merciful to continue to bless. Okay? That becomes tricky, right? Because I know all the children in there are thinking now, I can be naughty, I can be sinful, I can disobey daddy and mommy. When I can't do my homework, daddy and mommy help me to cheat. Don't worry, I will still be blessed, like Jacob. Daddy, Mommy, why don't call me Jacob, right? All right, so that may be a problem, right? So this person is really struggling, as a Christian, really struggling with all these thoughts. Your answer is kind of there. Maybe I asked Gracia, why did God still bless? Because He promised. So you all keep talking about promise. What promise? What promise? Phoebe, what promise? All the adults keep talking about promise. Sorry, Gracia is your friend, your age. What promise? Do you remember what promise? No. What promise? Okay, last one. Caleb, what promise? Don't know. All right, let's turn to Genesis. Maybe ask a father, Kenny Chia, what promise? Excellent answer. Maybe. Listen carefully. Say again. I'm hungry, I know, but don't trick me. Don't deceive me. Say again, say again.
So the birthright is always to the elder son of the family. And then God blessed Jacob because Esau gave it to him.
Okay. Oh, tricky one. No. Yeah, you're right. The God said it will be to the older son. But why did God, you say God blessed Jacob because anyway Esau gave it to Jacob. So God said, no choice now to bless Jacob. Okay, so Jacob thinks that the birthright is precious. At least he thinks rightly. Since Esau just treated it like dirt, less valuable than porridge, right? Less valuable than stew, then Esau don't deserve it. Give it to Jacob. Well, that means if we deceive people, because we believe something is good, we go and deceive people, we treasure it more. Okay, I want to be a pastor. Then I deceive the church. I'm not called, but I deceive the church. I become a pastor. Then God will bless, but it's not God's will. God won't bless, correct? Now, turn to Genesis 25, verse 23. The initial part, it sounded so promising, right? It's about the older and the younger. 25, 23. Genesis 25, 23, let's read together. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. The elder shall serve the younger. So those who say promise, you are right in the sense where you quote the wrong promise. Before they were born, God already told them that the older will serve the younger. It is already God's intent. So some of you mentioned God is sovereign, God chooses who will. That is correct. All right, that is correct. So God already intended it that way. God already intended it that way. So it's not because he liked it more than the other one, don't treasure it, so God gave to the other one. Now, but there's still the problem. Well, the mother helped him to cheat as well. Sorry, this person does. Even the mother helped Jacob to cheat Isaac. That's the hairy part, all right? That's the hairy part. Her mother helped Jacob to cheat Isaac. Now with all this, how can God still bless? Shouldn't God say, no, you sin, don't bless you? How do you answer that? So does it mean that when parents, you help your children to cheat in their homework, thinking, if anyone help them cheat, anyway, because God intended my child to be this and that, don't worry, even if I cheat, he will eventually be there. Let me help him get there. Help God to help him get there. Parents, so I ask parents, how are you going to think if you begin to interpret scriptures like that? All right, maybe Phyllis. Don't help them to cheat. But in the Bible, it is there, they help them to cheat and then still God blessed Jacob. Very good. God, now the reason why God blessed Jacob, and the line was still through Jacob, all right? And the growth of the nation was through Jacob. Because God promised. God always keeps his promise. But the important part, parents, young ones, to listen, to remember is this. It does not mean that there will not be consequences. So parents will say, anyway, help the child to cheat. Or children, anyway, I cheat. If God wants me to be that, I will still be that. But don't forget, yes, God is faithful. Now, faithful God means this. Whatever he promises, he will do. That's why he still blessed Jacob. But he also promised blessings for obedience and curses for disobedience. He also promised that. He will keep the blessing part, but he will also make sure the curses, the chastisement will come. Don't think that I can just sin and then lie and then cheat, whether you're the adult or you're the children in school. Things are still going to be fine in life anyway. I'm still going to grow up and still going to be this and be that. Yes, you may be that if God intended for you to be that or this, but please know, there can be very severe and painful consequences. Now, what's the lesson to learn? So your child sit there doing family worship, jaw drop and then listening to you and say, Daddy, so what is the lesson? What is the lesson, Alex? Alex, Daddy. What is the lesson to learn? We know all the theories now. We know the theology now. What are the lessons? Say again. So obey God and don't do the bad things, right? Don't do the bad things. Okay. But do the bad things got good results, Colin Tay. Okay, so that is what we said in the first place. God blessed because of his faithfulness. Now, please remember that. Your salvation is purely because of God's goodness. It's nothing to do with you were obedient or anything. Purely God's goodness, that is all. That it will be through the line of Jacob. And this is what Jacob must learn. It has nothing to do with my character. God simply sovereignly chose that the older will serve the younger. That is God's choice. That is all. Jacob must not be proud at all. Same for us. We must not be proud of anything in our life. It's God's personal pleasure and his supreme choice that has nothing to do with you. He chose to save you. He chose to give you talents. He chose to bless you with anything in life. Nothing to do with you. That Israel being so disobedient, but God will choose Israel as a nation. The covenant that he keeps, that is why it's called the Lord, Jehovah, the covenant-keeping God. So God's covenant to bring about the salvation of mankind, he will always keep the promise, and he chooses as he chooses, not because Jacob was wonderful or anything. So that's the first. So first lesson, don't be proud of anything in your life. Whatever you have achieved, whatever you have done for the Lord, don't ever be proud. That's one. Now, second one, must you cheat? That is the key thing I want to know. Who should I ask now? Jonathan, what's another lesson to learn? You just say, Daddy, you never cheat a bit. Oh, still good things can happen. We don't need to help God to achieve his plan by doing something sinful. Please remember that. God already said the elder shall serve the younger. Jacob and the mother, Rebecca, did not need to do anything. Maybe they kept waiting. Hey, it's not happening. Then Jacob is old already. Can't even tell real hair from false hair. What's going to happen if Isaac dies now, then finish, All right, obviously Rebecca favors Jacob more. Now, what happened? So what are we going to do? So teach your children, and adults learn the same thing. Whatever that you're seeing that doesn't seem to going to turn out right, you do not need to act sinfully. You do not need to distrust God's promises. There's a problem with them. All right? Now, parents, whatever God wants your child to be, your child will be. And I'm not saying they don't study, and that's human responsibility. Don't do sinful things. Right? Trust the Lord. If it is for your child will have it. Young ones as well, remember that. If it is not for you, however hard you try, it is not for you. Not for you. So that's another lesson we must learn. We must learn. Now, parents, don't teach your child to cheat. Now, what are the consequences that they faced? Yes, it was Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. What a big name. Remember Jacob's life was very miserable. Much of it. He had such a broken relationship with Esau. He was scared of Esau to death. He knew that he cheated Esau, and Esau would want to kill him. You see, he lived a life that is, can you imagine living a life that you have a broken relationship with your sibling, the majority of your life, afraid of him, don't talk? It was very sad. Now, not only that, both mother and son would witness their children, their grandchildren, learn their way of lying, cheating, and deceiving. Did not the siblings of Jacob, the children of Jacob, do that when he came to Joseph? Lying, deception, even intent on murder. Can you imagine for Jacob to have children that are like that? Jacob did not need to incur all these consequences. We learned in family seminar. Your sinful behavior as parents, your children will learn. Children I know will say, hey, all my sins nothing to do with me. You don't learn. That is what God is saying. So they lived, a family that is really just in turmoil, brokenness, disharmony, pain, and a lot of it related to deception and cheating. Right? So, yes, there are consequences. Means, in other words, all these could have been avoided. Just trust God. So the answer, why did God bless him? Because it's God's promise. But remember, God also kept his promise for chastisements in the life. What would you choose? So that is the thing to remember. So now, your child, children? Right, children, I know you are very, very wily. All right? Very bad word for clever. I can't remember. All right? You're clever in a bad way. They say, but Daddy, never mind. It's okay. Still, we become rich. We have a lot of things. Are those consequences it's okay. We still get this, right? So maybe as husband and wife, never mind. Our children will still become this. Consequences. We just bear with it. But still, that is achieved. It's worth it. It's worth it. The child becomes what it wants. Or you, as a child, become what you want to be. Just cheat and lie your way there. Consequences are fine. I don't care about my siblings anyway. Okay? So, how do you answer that? Eugene. Still will become that. We are not Israel, so okay, you bring down God's name. We said, never mind, I don't care. Our name become infamous, Or you say, well, the other one was, well, back then God will bless them with physical blessings. God intended there will be a nation formed. So God promised, so they still get it. Are you saying that maybe sometimes they won't get it? Yeah. Yeah, please don't think. Never mind, just bear with the consequences, child. Never mind, I cheat. But I became the top student. A lot of people don't know I cheat. Okay, then I fall sick, I get COVID and all that. I'll recover from it. Never mind, I get this. Or maybe adults. I'll just steal some of this money. Nobody knows, but I can buy this big house and then look so nice. Okay, some family problems, I can bear with it. Big house, big name, more important. I will still get it. Now, don't think that you will still get it. Turn to 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 34 to 36. Reading. I think this is the verse. Reading. And this shall be a sign unto thee, that shall come upon thy two sons, on Hophni and Phinehas. In one day they shall die both of them. And I will raise me up a faithful priest, that shall do according to that which is in my heart and in my mind, and I will build him a sure house, and he shall walk before mine anointed forever. Now, the promise of God was that the priesthood will be in this line. But now God will change, will divert the line. And it's going to be changed. So Eli thought, my children behave like that, I'm not a good father. Never mind, God already promised that this priesthood line is always in my line. But God says, no. Your wicked children, they will die. When both die means no more priests, right? How? The line ended. God said, I will raise another line. So please don't think that you will always still, God promised He will always give you. God's purposes will always be fulfilled. Please remember that. But you also see in scriptures where then what God promised to give you, He also in scriptures do take away. Do take away that. All right? He does take away that. Turn to Numbers 20 verse 12. Numbers 20 verse 12. Numbers 20, verse 12, and then we end. Now let's read together. Numbers 20, verse 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. God called him to bring them in. God promised him, please, stand up, do this. I will use you to bring them in. Did God use him eventually to bring them in? No, Moses was in so much regret. In a moment of fit of anger, he disobeyed God. And God says, well, I will not. See, look at that. Therefore ye shall not. God took it away. God took it away. Moses wanted it back so much. And God says, don't ask me anymore. And that situation was verse 13, the water of Meribah. Because of that, Moses sinned. Moses was so high up. You would think after all that they have done, God said, wow, Moses, just close one eye. You've been so good, so tolerant, so obedient. All right, Moses, go in. Please don't think that for all your obediences, and then this one time say, I just do this. In a fit of temptation, right? Student in school, I've been very obedient to God. Maybe, but this test, I really want to get A. I really want to, and you just cheat once. You think God will not take away what He intended for you in your life? Parents likewise. So God in the Bible does promise to keep His promise. And you also see that there are curses, chastisements, and God also showed that He will take away what He has promised. He's sovereign. He's sovereign. Because God already said, curses for disobedience, openly told to the people. If He does continue to use you, it is His prerogative and His kindness. That is all. He is not bound to do that because curses for disobedience. All right, so I hope that we learn some of these lessons and we apply it in our lives. Let us pray. What do we have here? Top 5 reasons why church dropouts, what church dropouts say, why they stop attending church. Now please remember 66% of, well, I take the American view, they're the most readily available results. They stopped attending church at least a year after turning 18. So from